again, welcome to day 3 of decorations. It's only me so far. Leah will be coming in a couple of minutes. She actually has a real job to do that she's doing right now. And our day 3 are going to be cards. So Anne has digitized some cards for us. And I really love the bows on here. And she also digitized the tree. Now these are embroidery, which you'll get in the zip file for today. Leah will actually be able to do one on the scan and cut. She's actually going to do the ribbons. So when she comes back, she'll do that. Also, we can do this. This is my terrible attempt at using white glue. So this is really a decoration that all ages can do. As long as you don't stick your finger to the cardstock, you're good. What I want to do first is I'm going to show you how to stitch out a card. Interesting, I didn't know you could embroider cards. And so I'm actually going to stitch out the tree for you today in case you've not had an opportunity to embroider a card. I have the beautiful VM5200 here in front of us. So to embroider a card with your embroidery machine, there's a couple of things that you need to set up correctly. First off is stable stick. That is the stabilizer I'm using. What it does is has an adhesive, but first off, it's actually covered with paper so it doesn't stick to itself. So I'm going to score this first. You got to be careful that you don't poke through your stabilizer. This is what your stiletto is really good for. And you just peel this off. So what this is tacky, and it's going to hold our cardstock down. A couple of other things that you may want to do. On mine, so here I've used a metallic thread when I did the bows on here. So a couple of things that are important to remember when using a metallic thread. Number one, you want to have your metallic thread as far away from your sewing machine as possible. That's when you want to use a thread stand. The next most important thing, metallic needles. Metallic needles are essential for stitching with metallic thread because they have a larger eye in there so they won't fray your metallic thread. So this is very, very important to do. And last but not least, my favorite tool, Sewer's Aid. This is a silicone, and what I do is I take my silicone and I go up and down my spool. And I let that sit on my spool stand for maybe 5 minutes, and then I'm ready to start sewing. I have scored my stable stick. It is now tacky. So I'm going to insert my frame into the machine gently. Don't break anything, Linda. Okay. So the first thing it's going to do is going to stitch out a placement line for the card. Take my hoop out of the machine. And now what I want to do is I want to lay my cardstock. I'm going to line it up. Now this cardstock is a little bit bigger than the standard 5x7, but as long as I line up my bottom left-hand corner, I just got to move it onto the table here. Okay. So you want to make sure that that is really stuck down there. You'll see how I've lined it up that bottom corner. Now I can put my embroidery hoop back in. Now keep in mind with these designs that we're providing to you, you could always add some writing like Merry Christmas. You could write people's names on it. You can customize this the way that you would like to have it done. So now it's going to start stitching at the bottom of my tree. I've included a PDF if you want to do this way. So the PDF actually shows you the tree so you can sketch it onto some cardstock and have fun with your glue. So I'm going to change my threads now. Okay, time to do our baubles.
Embroidery on paper always sounds weird.
Yeah, it sounds awful, doesn't it?
I'm gonna jump in and take over for a second and show you guys something to watch for on other embroidery machines. Sometimes when you get in there and things are not going smoothly, you'll need to make sure you don't have any threads caught in your thread cutter. I'm gonna lift that bobbin case out, and there is a thread caught in there. I will need a screwdriver. No, I found a button that should work. Okay. I'm gonna take the stitch plate off, because sometimes if there's too much thread stuck in the thread cutter, it will stop cutting cleanly, and then either it won't move to the next spot properly, or it'll cut the bottom thread tail too short. Yep. And that won't work. So the thread cutter on this machine comes out from over here, and this little arm actually shoots across in front of the stitching area, and that big long thread stuck in there is probably part of the issue. So I'm going to take that out. If this area was full of lint, this would be a great time to clean it out. Wipe that lint out. It will be a much happier machine. And then we'll put the bobbin case back in. So the last thing you want to do when you're putting this all back together is drop the screws for the stitch plate back in. So you're going to put the bobbin case back in first, matching the white triangle and the white dot. There, right there. And your bobbin case should sit nice and flush in your hook. If you turn your hand wheel right now, the hook will turn all the way around. The machine's going to be a little cranky at me for doing that while it's in embroidery mode, but it's not. It'll be okay. Then we're going to put the silver part back on first. Don't put the screws in yet. And then if you slide the gray plate in with it, you've covered all the places where a screw could fall inside, which will be safer for everybody. Because as much as I don't mind tipping your machine upside down to fish a screw out, it's not really my preferred activity. And you don't really want to drive down to the store to get it out. Much better. So deep breath when things go sideways.
There we go. We are all done. Get rid of that thread. Okay. So I just wrapped that around. Now, one of the suggestions that Anne actually had is that you can get some beautiful paper to cover off this back. So this one was slightly bigger, so I can just, we have a paper cutter here, I would just paper cut it, and then we can fold it. This is just bulk cardstock that we have. And then you can just cut it, or you could have actually embroidered a name up here, or Merry Christmas, or Happy Holidays, or whatever.
Yep, but
so
a running stitch will be your friend.
Yep.
Not a big satin stitch.
Those are Anne's design. Aren't they beautiful? I love this one. There we go.
So much fun.
Okay.
So what's needed at the bottom of here?
Well, what is needed at the bottom of that? I have a little basket over here. So this is called our button wreath garland. So I went through and looked, found some very, very cute. You could actually put glue little bells here if you want, white glue or your glue gun. So I have
Gem tack?
your gem tack. How about some frozen stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that would be really cute. You could actually put some frozen stuff at the bottom of the tree. Your glue gun's your friend, right? And of course, because I love Belle, I may have to do a card and put Belle, the Beast and Belle underneath here. And look at those. So you want to put little buttons at the bottom of this. I actually like it just like that. Okay, Leah, you go ahead now.
Okay. There we go. We're gonna do almost the same project in a very different way. So what I have done, not everybody has an embroidery machine, and not everybody wants to do the kid-friendly version. So if you have a scan and cut, there is a file made for this in the way I'm going to show you, which is using the foiling kit for the Brothers Scan and Cut. So the Scan and Cut foiling kit, let me show you guys what that looks like when you buy it. So the foiling kit comes in a big box. Foil transfer starter kit. And what you get in there is a whole bunch of stuff. There's this weird blue film thing. We're going to use that in a minute. There's a holder that's going to hold the glue pen. There's little nubby tips that we'll use in the second step. There's foiling sheets and the activation code. And then the last thing, which is probably in my little clear bin over there, is a way to press down and make sure that all your foil is stuck to all your glue. So I think foiling is a riot. It's so much fun. And you can get new glue pens when you're ready. I'm going to be loading a foiling pattern that is in your file handout for today. So it's on my USB stick. It's just at the end of all the fun things I have on here. And I'm going to make this button garland pattern. When you open it, you might notice that it's a blue line in the image. This is set up as a draw line, not a cut line. So with the foiling that we're going to do, it acts like a pen instead of a knife, which is much safer. So this is that kind of line. So blue means draw line. I'm going to switch out the blade holder and put in the glue pen. The foiling kit comes with this glue pen holder, and the glue pen drops down in this way. We're just going to pay attention to how high the glue is in the glue pen when we get started here. On the Scan and Cut SDX 225, there's also a scanner lever on the left-hand side of the machine. That will need to be at level 1. So I'm going to hit OK once I've got this loaded. I've got my paper, and I'll be able to trim it down to a 5x7 card size once I'm done. I'm going to select foil, step 1. And right now my glue line is between that 2 and the 3, so I'm going to leave it at the 3 because that matches what's actually in there right now. And OK. We have a couple other settings we can check. So I've got my glue pressure turned up. My glue pen has had a little bit of a life here, so a little bit more glue, and I'd like lots of glue going down on my paper so I can stick lots of our foiling sheet down. So this is just step 1. We're going to put glue down first, and we're going to let it dry to tacky before we do the next step. We're going to hit start. Oh, it does need to be at level 2. Oh, interesting. Once the glue is on, the paper needs to wait, and you can just leave it on the mat while the glue dries to tacky. It will change colors slightly. This might take 10 to 15 minutes. When you're putting the glue pen in, you'll need to squeeze the release at the front and make sure you firmly push the glue pen all the way in. While you're waiting for the glue to dry, you can get your foiling attachment prepped for the second part. Comes with a small gray knob at the end. Small gray knob at the end. So you're going to take the glue pen out, put it aside, put its lid back on so you don't have your glue dry out on you. And the little gray thing pushes up from the bottom, and that can go wait inside your machine for you. When the glue is dry, you can unload the mat, or you could have beforehand. And you're going to place, you're going to do this in the right order. Your foiling sheet, the colored side goes facing outward on top of where you have your glue. And then the blue sheet will cover the whole area. It's best if you just tape that in place so it doesn't get caught inside your machine on you. Might add a little bit more of a different color foil in there. There's blue just a little bit closer to the edge of my paper there as well. So when you're ready, we're going to use part 2 of the foiling. We're going to select part 2. It shows the little gray end and your blue sheet taped over top. What it does in this stuff, it's just going to use that little nub to press the foil into the glue. It's going to cover the whole area. Unload the mat, and we'll lift the blue cover sheet you're concerned about anywhere that might not have had your glue stuck down, you just use your silicone pad to do those last couple spots, make sure you're good to go. And then you peel away your foiling sheet. What a sticky mat. Super gorgeous, super sparkly, and this could be folded and trimmed down into a 5x7 card. So thank you for joining us. We're very excited to.
Thank you for spending time with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're having a blast doing 12 days of decorations. So thank you so much, guys.
Hey,
Be safe,
be calm.
be kind, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.